Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Language Arts Gallery. Today, we're going to talk about the second part of our standardized writing assessment, which is a point-by-point comparative essay. Now, we've gone over several different approaches to comparative essay writing. I'm going to talk today about the point-by-point method, and I'm also going to talk about how you can approach this essay for your exam, because in the past, we've talked about how it's important to take a unique perspective in our comparative essays. However, I want you to know that for your assessment, you do not need to do that, okay? You simply need to be sure that you include all the rhetorical features of a point-by-point comparative essay. So let's take a look at what those rhetorical features are right now. Okay, so when we go over our point-by-point comparative method, we have to remember that we're talking about a 5-paragraph approach. This is different than the block method, which was a 4-paragraph approach. So in our point-by-point comparative approach, we're going to start with our introduction. And I'm going to go to that in our next slide so you can see everything that's included and see examples of that. But I'm just going to highlight a few important things right here. As always, we want to engage our reader. Hook your reader, draw them in. You want to introduce the topics for comparison. Now, this is where you're going to need to remember the difference between the topics for comparison, the points of comparison, and the significance of comparison. The topics of comparison are the two things that you're comparing. So you might be comparing Myanmar and Thailand. Those two countries would be the topics for comparison. You're also going to introduce the points of comparison. The points of comparison are the 3 different ways that you're comparing these two topics. So it might be language or linguistic diversity. It might be food, and it might be a political system. Okay, whatever you choose, you can choose anything you want, but those would be examples of points of comparison. Significance of comparison. In other words, why should anyone read this essay? For whom is this important, right? And you could simply say for someone who wants same essay topic, Myanmar and Thailand, for someone who wants a deeper understanding of the diversity in Southeast Asia, something like that. If you were writing an essay on British food and American food, it might be something that's interesting for culinary professionals like chefs. It might be interesting for people who are foodies or interested in trying food from all over the world. And then you're going to need a thesis statement. Your thesis statement is going to depend on your essay question or your essay prompt. So you might be asked, are these two things more similar or are they more different? If you feel that they are more similar, you could say they're mostly very similar. You might say there are striking differences. Or you could say where, for example, if you're talking about Myanmar, you might say where political system and where the political system and linguistic diversity are concerned, there are striking differences between Thailand and Myanmar. However, the foods in these two countries share incredible similarities, something like that. Now, I don't know if the foods are similar or not. I'm just doing that as an example, but we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Now, each body paragraph is going to discuss one point of comparison. Okay, so you are going to discuss both topics of comparison related to the first, the second, and the third points of comparison. In these body paragraphs, you're going to want a good topic sentence. Okay, so you're going to, in your topic sentence, you're going to be introducing that point of comparison. You're going to want to use language for comparing and contrasting, both similarly, just like, in the same way. When you're talking about comparisons, if you're contrasting, you might say something like, on the other hand, however, conversely. Those are all ways that you can express contrasts. And you don't have to, I won't take off points, but it's always great if you want to, at the end of your first and second body paragraph, to include a transition phrase, right? We want transitions in the beginning, right? To begin with, you might start for your first paragraph. So say you discuss linguistic diversity here, and then in your second body paragraph, you plan to discuss food. You might say, while there are tremendous differences where linguistic diversity is concerned, there are striking similarities where foods are concerned. So you're moving your reader to that next topic. Okay, and then finally we get to our conclusion. Just as we do in all our essays, we want to signal the end of the essay. Let the reader know that they've come to the end of your writing. To sum up, in conclusion, you're going to restate whatever that thesis statement is. And remember, that's going to be dependent upon what the essay question is. You'll restate the topics, the points, and the significance of comparison. And you'll end with a concluding thought. Remember, when we're writing in APA format, we need to ensure that all of our body paragraphs or all of our paragraphs have at least 3 sentences. So where I see the biggest area for improvement with this is where the conclusion is concerned. So remember, if you include all of these rhetorical features, you should get 3 sentences. So try to focus on including all of those, and you should get to 3 sentences easily. So let's take a quick look here at an introduction. Okay, and this is a person who is comparing summer and winter. In the red, we've got the hook, the first sentence that engages the reader. Would you rather enjoy an endless summer or an endless winter? And again, that's very informal. We said questioning is okay, but it's less formal. If you're writing a dissertation or you're writing a thesis, you probably want to avoid that. In our blue here, we've got our points of comparison. Our points of comparison is really our thesis map, right? Because that's what's going to be discussed in the body of the essay. Both seasons have similarities and differences where weather, holidays, and sports and activities are concerned. So those are the 3 things that the author is going to discuss. The green is the significance of comparison. Why is this comparison important, or to whom is it important? Evaluating the similarities and differences between the 2 seasons is important for anyone who's deciding in which season to travel to America. And finally, the yellow is our thesis statement. Summer and winter both have extreme weather, great holidays, and offer exciting sports and activities. So right there, I know the author is arguing that these things are mostly similar, and I should see that in my body paragraphs. Okay, so I think you guys are going to do a fantastic job. I know we've written quite a few point-by-point comparative essays, so I think this is going to be really easy for you. If you have any questions or you need any help, please reach out to me during the week. I'm here to help you. Good luck, and I'll see you in our next class.